Hey everybody, welcome back to When Harry Met Board Games, where we feed our people with relatable content and our victory condition is your satisfaction. I am Harry, and today we have another episode of Monday Metagaming, where we talk about some of the latest industry-wide news, in particular items that catch my interests, right? And also we give some channel updates and announcements, and then we wrap up the video with some recent plays. So first, let's get straight off to it. Let's start with the news. So there's two news items in particular that I will highlight today. One is a game that I read about on BGG, BoardGameGeek.com, that seems to be coming out this year, called Abandon All Artichokes. So this is a little alliteration there, AAA, Abandon All Artichokes. And it's interesting because this is a deck building game. Many people who follow the channel know that I'm a big fan of deck building games. Check out my top 50 games of all time to see more on that. You know, check out a video that I put a couple weeks ago where I just talked about, my love for deck builders in general. So this is interesting because I don't know too much about it. First of all, the theme looks a little cartoony and corny even, but that kind of sounds interesting, right? Sometimes deck builders take themselves too seriously, right? You have some very deep and powerful and strong themes, right? So it's going to be interesting to see a sillier, lighthearted theme for this deck builder. And it seems like there's some kind of deck deconstruction, perhaps. I'm not too sure. Again, there's a very brief synopsis on the page there in the database, but it caught my attention and I thought I would mention it. Also, from the Winsome group of 18xx games, there is an announcement that Gulf Mobile and Ohio will have a reprint for a third edition, apparently, of this game, as well as a new game coming out in the same line, which is Trans-Siberian Railroads. And the reason why I mention this is because I don't own any 18xx games currently in my collection right now, but I have to say, I've been itching to try an 18xx game for some time now. Maybe some of you guys have tried it. Maybe you guys are definitely afraid of trying one. And, there's a little bit of that too, just the heaviness, the dryness of it all. But every time I look into it, it seems like I would be interested in 18xx games. I guess my bigger concern for me, since I do most of my gaming, well, I do all of my gaming with non-gamers to casual gamers, people who are hovering around that range, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get some of my casual gamer friends to commit to this heavy, long experience. But those are the two news items that I wanted to share. Abandon All Artichokes, the deck building game, Gulf Mobile and Ohio getting a third edition, plus from the same line of games, Trans-Siberian Railroads to be released sometime later on this year. So those are interesting and exciting news for me. Now let's talk a little bit about the channel and some of its updates. First of all, we had a record for our channel this week. 12 new subscribers, which brings us up to a total of 84 subscribers. I can just see, I can taste, I can, stretch out my hand and reach out to 100, and I am so excited. I want to thank every single one of you who have, liked the channel, who have commented on the channel, who have subscribed to this channel. I really appreciate it. If you're watching right now and you haven't liked or subscribed yet, hey, there's 84 other people who've done it already, so it cannot be too bad, right? Give it a try. Hit that subscribe button. What's the worst that could happen, right? So again, thank you guys so much for that. So we have over 4,500 views in this channel. So we're growing. People are watching the channel. Sometimes they're liking it, sometimes they're not. But the point is, it's getting its views. 4,500 views in less than 3 months. I cannot complain. And now let me share some of the announcements for things that are coming up this week. Some really exciting stuff this week. First of all, my wife Lily is back by popular demand. Tomorrow, she and I will be going through our top 10 Uwe Rosenberg games. I've been covering the last couple weeks some of my favorite designers, some of my top 10s for them. And this is, without a doubt, my wife Lily's favorite board game designer, period. If you're interested in seeing what some of her game style or game preferences are, just check her top 25 videos of all time. Some of those links will be down in the description below, just to see a little bit of what a gamer's wife, taste might seem like. So that is that. Also, we will be having, I will be doing a review of Res Publica, which is a game designed by Rainer Knizia that nobody hears about, nobody talks about, but I think is a neat game. It kind of falls within the filler category of games. It has some trading, it has some set collection, some victory points for the win. I think people will be curious to see what that game looks like. It will not be a waste of your time. And that's pretty much it. We'll have some of the other typical things that we have on this channel as well. I do want to make some very important announcements, and it's that there are going to be some cutbacks as far as the posts are concerned in this channel. And it's not to cheat anybody out. It's more of a matter of practicality here. So we will not be doing any more unboxing games videos, at least not on a regular basis. Also, my special delivery videos, which I would have weekly, where I would show you whatever came in for the mail with me, the latest thing that came in, those will be done sporadically, and it will be allowed for games to pile up, and it will be bigger deliveries, bigger things to share, but it will be less often. And the reason why I am doing this is because I've noticed that my special delivery videos and my unboxing videos do not get nearly as many views as some of my other videos. It's not even close. So I feel like it's best and most practical to not have a consistent upload schedule as far as these type of videos are concerned, and maybe do the occasional one for bigger things, like a big, massive, unboxing, or a big, massive special delivery, which, by the way, this week later on today, we will have a special delivery, and it'll be a huge one, the hugest one ever, because last week was my birthday, and I got some extra cash from loved ones, and I spent it freely. So don't miss that special delivery. It will be worth your while. But after that, we will take it easy with the unboxings and the special deliveries for the time being. So for those of you who've been fans of that, I'm sorry, but at the same time, there still will be a little bit of that throughout the course of the year. All right, and that is pretty much it as far as channel announcements. Let's get straight into recent plays. And this week was a phenomenal week. I was able to get 28 plays. And I know that's going to sound like ridiculous and like how the heck that happened, but it happened. My wife alone gave me 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plays alone. So that already, it starts right there. It starts from the top, right? 10 plays of just playing games with my wife. And she was really, really good this week. So some of the games we played Ticket to Ride London 2 times, because that's a very short game. It's about a 10 to 15 minute, condensing of the bigger Ticket to Ride games, just focus in London, way less victory points, way less, trains, or in the case of this, double-decker buses. So it finishes really, really quickly, but it's really, really cool. I like it for what it is. It's a filler implementation of Ticket to Ride without really changing too much, and actually adding a few subtle little, twists to the game. Like, for example, London is broken up into different districts, and if you connect all the districts, all the cities that make up the district, or all the spots that make up the district, you get a certain amount of bonus points depending on which or how valuable that district is. Really cool, really neat. We also played In the Year of the Dragon, which is one of my wife's, favorite games. She really likes In the Year of the Dragon. Probably her favorite Stefan Feld game, not mine. But it was really, really cool. My wife was really successful this week. She beat me at a lot of games. Ooh, it wasn't a good week for me against her. Man, she didn't beat me at Ticket to Ride London. I did beat her both of those times, but some of these other games, she really kicked my butt in. So In the Year of the Dragon, she beat me at it. It's a tile drafting game where you're drafting different characters that are going to help you prepare for the different, calamitous events that are happening throughout the Year of the Dragon. And here's the thing, no matter how good you prepare, that Year of the Dragon, it's going to get you. Some way, somehow, in some shape, form, fashion, it's going to get you. And all you could do is, lessen the brunt of the blow, but you're going to take a hit. So that was in the Year of the Dragon. We also played King Domino, another game where my wife beat me, and she beat me convincingly. We played with the Age of Giants expansion. As a matter of fact, we no longer play King of Domino without the Age of Giants expansion, because while Age of Giants isn't, a radically earth-shattering type of expansion, it adds one more little wrinkle, one more little decision that you can make in what's already a very, very light game. If I were to play with a non-gamer, I would play just without the expansion to make it an even easier experience. But Age of Giants is cool. She crushed me in it. We also played Alhambra, one of our favorite games to play together as a couple. Tile placement game, Spiel des Jahres winner. You're placing all these different buildings, and it's interesting because most tile placement games allow you to reorient the tile to your convenience. No, this game, when you draft a tile, or when you buy a tile, I should say, because you have to draft money cards that you'll use to buy the cards. When you buy a tile, you need to place it in the same orientation in which it is, right? You don't get to turn it clockwise or flip it upside down. None of that. So you got to place it that. So there is that challenge. And most of these tiles have a wall, and it has some sort of, the wall is on one side, or it's on the bottom, or it could be half of the tile is walled, or 3/4 of it is walled. And the wall factors in the scoring, but it also factors in the placement, because there's some very strict and stingy rules as far as the placement of the tiles. So sometimes you want to get a tile, but you can't, because then you will have no place to place it on your tableau. But what's interesting is it's a set collection game. You're trying to have, it's a second collection, and I guess theoretically it's an area majority game, because you're trying to have the majority, kind of like a stock market, I should say, game, where you're trying to have the majority in all of these different colors, and some of these colors are more valuable. So I guess they're like more expensive companies. You could look at it that way, right? If you want to look at it from a stock market perspective. And if you have the majority, you score a certain amount of points. If you have secondary, tertiary, you score points accordingly. Really, really cool game. Really, really neat game. Mechanically, it feels very gateway, but at the same time, it just has something to it that makes it feel a little bit deeper, a little bit crunchier. Now, we are playing right now with the Favorite of the Vizier expansion. Lately, that's the only way we've been playing. And we're playing with 2 of the modules there. We haven't explored. There's 4 modules in that expansion, and we play with 2 of them. One of them just basically allows you to occasionally buy something out of turn order, which is neat. And then the other one is like a bonus card that you can play. Everybody has a certain amount of bonus cards that are dealt to them privately, and you could play these bonus cards. And if they depict a building, a specific building with a specific color and a specific cost on it. And if you bought that exact building and it's in your Alhambra, right, if it's in the tableau before you, then at a scoring round, you can place down one of those bonus cards that matches that exact building, color and price, and that card counts as an additional building of that type. So that helps in the whole majority, figuring out who has the majority, or maybe breaking a tie, or so on and so forth. Really, really cool, really neat game, really neat expansion. Again, my wife, she kicked my butt. I did pretty good. I made a good comeback towards the end of the game, but it was too little too late. We also played Aloha, and this is a game, again, that my wife adores. It's a game that I adore. Really great game. Uwe Rosenberg. Wonderful game about just, getting these different resources and upgrading these resources into, like, more valuable versions of themselves. They're like, the resources are represented by 2-sided tiles, and one side of the tile shows the basic standard, version of that resource, and the flip side shows its upgraded version. And you're using worker placement to place one worker. You're gonna have one worker in different buildings throughout the game. Some that belong to the city, they're neutral buildings, and some that belong to the different respective players. And you go to these different buildings, you trigger their actions, and usually they allow you to either upgrade resources for a more valuable version of themselves, or to exchange resources for money, or to exchange resources for some other type of resource. So there's a little bit of resource conversion, which I think is a really, really neat idea. And ultimately, you're trying to be the most prosperous person and make the most money. And the buildings that you build in your part of the city, they contribute to your actions, but they also contribute to your end game score and your wealth. And you feel wealthy in this game. Even when you lose, you feel wealthy. But I will say this, it was the first time that my wife and I have ever played a game of Le Havre where the score was decided by over 25 points. I think she beat me by like 26, 27 points or something like that. It was something like that. And it was the first time ever. Usually our games are pretty close. But again, she kicked my butt. That was the theme of this week. Great game, Le Havre. We also played San Juan. And I'll just get it out of the way. This is one of the few games that I actually beat my wife in this week at. You know, there was Ticket to Ride, and now there's San Juan. And this game is really, really good. It was actually only our second time playing it. It's the card version of Puerto Rico, but I like it better because for what it is, first of all, it looks better. It's a card game, so components in a card game are not going to wow you. But the card quality is fine, and the artwork is decent. I feel like Puerto Rico, the graphic design is poor. The component pieces are, you know, they leave a lot to be desired. But this game is really, really cool. You know, I'm a huge Race for the Galaxy fan, and this definitely feels a lot like Race for the Galaxy. And history tells that these two games kind of were like in development together. And, you know, Andrea Seyfarth and Thomas Lehman, they kind of fed off each other, and there was mutual communication and feedback and help throughout this process. I will say this. While I actually like the theme of San Juan more. I know lots of people like the science fiction theme. I like this, you know, colonial, you know, shipping and all that stuff. I kind of like that stuff. You know, and just identifying with real world buildings and what they can do, as opposed to like, you know, these science fiction planets and developments that supposedly do these things. Thematically, I actually connect more with that. But I still think that I'm going to end up in the long run liking Race for the Galaxy more because I actually like the simultaneous play of it. Not only from like a speed perspective, the fact that it makes the game go quicker, but also from the perspective that it's part of the challenge of the game, right? You don't know what your opponent's going to pick. So sometimes in San Juan, you're benefited by the fact that you know your opponent picked that. So, hey, now I'm going to pick this. But in Race for the Galaxy, sometimes you're pressing your luck too. So it really needs to make you're going to press your luck, but you want to make an educated as guess as possible as to what your opponent might pick and how you can maybe piggyback off their turn and maybe take the risk of doing that or the opposite risk, the risk of not doing enough. I think it's really, really neat. But that's not a game I played this week. I played San Juan, but it's a great game too. And it has a chance. It still has a chance of rivaling a game like Race for the Galaxy. Time will tell. We also played Portals and Prophets, which is a Bible-themed game where some little science fiction elements, because you're traveling, you're using a time machine to travel back into, you know, ancient times, biblical times, and you're going through the different centuries. You know, every round that represents a different century in antiquity or in late antiquity. And what you're doing is you're trying to make it through, you're navigating through the map of Israel, similar to the movement mechanism in a game like Pandemic, where every adjacent city is one action, it costs to move. And you're moving through these places and you're trying to make it to you have these set of cards, right? This hand of cards, and you're trying to make it to the right city at the right time, in the right round, the right century, because you have these cards that have a specific event from biblical times, and it tells you the location it's at, and it tells you the century it happens in, and you're trying to time it. But Israel, in this map at least, is really, really big, so sometimes you can't get to all these places as quickly as you would want to. And what's interesting is that you can use fuel, right? Some of the cards have a currency known as fuel to power up your time machine. And when you power up your time machine, it allows you to basically work within a range of 2 to 6 centuries. Or if you fully power your time machine, you can pretty much go any century you want. So you're using this currency of fuel because sometimes you won't be able to make it to Jerusalem in the 13th century. But if you're in the 12th century and you have some fuel for your time machine, then you might be able to cash that in. And it's interesting because you're really doing some set collection, and you're scoring points based on having sets of the different colored regions, which are based on 5 different sections of Israel. And also each of the different cards have these bonus symbols on them, and you score points for having the majorities in all these different symbols. So there's a little bit of set collection and a little bit of, majority kind of thing going on, and some nice geographical movement, kind of like Pandemic, which I like games that have that type of movement in them. I really, really do. I like geography. I like the idea of a real map. And I get it sometimes, for the sake of gameplay, they slightly modify exactly where the cities and towns are. But I'm okay with that, as long as, for the most part, things are where they should be. I like seeing a geographical map as a board, and that is really neat. We played that game, and I did win at that game, and that was the last game. So out of the 10 games that we played this week, I usually don't do the stats. Out of the 10 games we played this week, I won 3 of them. We also played, and I have the box right here, a new game to us, and that is Point Salad. And this game is so neat. I really liked it. I think this game has a good chance of becoming, by far, and again, it's too early to tell, we played it twice, by far my favorite filler ever. It is definitely a filler. Gameplay can be anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. I think a 2-player game might push the 15-minute barrier, but no more. It is so neat. You're drafting these different cards, but on top of it all, the tops of the decks, because the cards are 2-sided. One side shows a particular veggie item that would make a salad, right? Or a salad item, a veggie that would make a salad. And there's 6 different veggies, right? 6 different salad items. But the backside of the card has a different scoring condition. And basically, there are 108 different ways to score in this game, because there's 108 cards, and each of them has a unique back to it that tells you score points for having X amount of onions, or you score points for not having any onions, or you score negative points for every onion you have, or if you have 2 pairs of onions, you score X amount of points, or if you have 3 pairs of onions, or if you have, lettuce and cabbage and tomatoes, you score X amount of points. Really, really neat. You're going on the fly. You're trying to figure things out. You could either draft 2 veggie cards from the trade market, which is only 6 cards, or you could draft 1 of the scoring cards, right? But at any point, you can flip over that scoring card and turn it to its opposite side and make it one of the salad items. But you can never turn a salad item the other way around and make it a scoring card. Really, really neat game. We played it twice, and my wife beat me twice, and it was not fair. She just crushed me. But I liked the game. I think it has a lot of potential. I'm thinking right now, I can't think off the top of my head any filler I own that I think I'm going to like as much as this one. But time will tell. Also, I played with my son Rabbit Rally like 9 different times. So that's one of the reasons why I got so many plays. And I'm not counting all the times I played Zingo within this week, and the times I played Spot It, and the times I played Animal Upon Animal. I'm just counting Rabbit Rally because it's new to us. Still feels like a fresh experience. And I like the game. It's a neat game. And you're just basically getting your rabbit from one island all the way across the table to the other island by rolling a dice and guessing based on 6 different sizes, colored bridges that have different ranges of sizes. How far should you place your little, your little stone that your rabbits are going to hop from one to another? And can you guess just by looking at those bridges how much that distance is? Really cool logic, and a little bit of press of your luck for a young child like my son, who's 4 years old. I also played one game remotely with my nephews, which was Ticket to Ride. We're playing a lot of Ticket to Ride lately. I do like Ticket to Ride. It is one of my top 50 games. I'm not going to spoil, just in case you have not watched those videos. Check them out, my top 50 games of all time. Ticket to Ride is a cool game. I'm kind of getting tired of it because we're playing it remotely, and my nephews only have the North American map, the base game. And I'm kind of past the base game in that sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the geography of the United States, and it's the one I'm most familiar with. So from that perspective, I could do very well. But I've been playing a lot with a lot of the different maps, and they don't own the different maps. So it would be cool. Maybe I might buy them one because they liking to play Ticket to Ride so much over the camera, over the FaceTime. I would like to try and experiment some other games. We almost played a game of Whistle Wagers this week, but it just didn't happen. So there was that, Ticket to Ride. And then finally, solo. I actually got a good amount of solo this week. Not only did I play a game of Dice Masters, which I recorded for the channel. I will be having a solo playthrough of Dice Masters. Dice Masters is typically a 2-player game. You could also play teams, 2 versus 2. I've never tried that out. However, there is a really good solo variant by a Board Game Geek user. I believe his name is Hell Orc. if I'm not mistaken, and he posted it on the forums and Dice Masters. And I think it's really neat. It's really functional. I like it. It's a little bit of a challenge. You kind of have to think about your decisions really, really hard because your decisions directly influence what decisions the AI or the automata takes. So that's something very, very, you got to factor in as you make each decision. So sometimes you might have to pass on a decision you would have wanted to make because you do not want to help the AI or your virtual opponent. Really, really cool. Dice Masters is a game that I was once way more fond of. Now I own particularly the Dice Masters content, Justice League. That's what my Dice Masters is. I don't own the Marvel, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't own the what else is it? D&D. I've done Dice Masters DC, but it was cool and I had a good time playing it. Now we will talk about the other 7 solo plays, which just consist of one game, Xeno Shift Onslaught, and this was my introduction to Xeno Shift. I played this 7 times, and here's the thing: I love deck builders. And I was really excited to play this, and I already had this on the queue to play with my cousin Rodney. He's one of the people that I play deck builders in particular the most with. And because of this whole COVID crisis and this quarantine, I cannot hang out with him. So this game was postponed indefinitely. So I said, you know what? This game plays solo. It has a legitimate solo variant that comes with the game. So I decided, let me just play solo. And I like the game. Mind you, I did not win a single time. All 7 times I lost. This is a tower defense game, science fiction, very similar to thematically speaking, to a Starship Troopers, for those who saw the movie that came out in the late 90s, where aliens are attacking and, basically the aliens consist of different types of insects and bugs, and you're using high-tech futuristic weapons to combat them and defend your base or your tower from the hive of different insects that will be coming and attacking. And there's 9 rounds, and it's divided into 3 different sections. It's hive 1, hive 2, hive 3, is it? I believe. And basically, each 3 rounds, the difficulty will advance because you will have stronger, more vicious aliens attacking you, but your troops that you can recruit will also increase, accordingly. So there will be a balance in that. Now, not only did I lose 7 times, but I did very poorly. I think out of the 7 times, I think I made it to the 3rd wave. That's what it's called, the 3 waves, not the 3 hives. Everything's the hive. 3 waves. I made it to the 3rd wave of insects or of the enemies 3 times. 3 times I made it to the 3rd wave. I only made it as far as the 8th once, and I made it to the 7th twice. I got eliminated as early as the 4th. Here's the thing: for like the first 3 or 4 games, I was playing wrong because your troop cards are allowed to have one armor and 1 weapon equipment card. I thought that they could only have 1 equipment card, period, and I did not understand that. And because of that, they were underarmed for so many games, and they had no chance. But even after I got the rule right and started playing the right way, I still stood no chance, So it's a difficult game. I'm still figuring it out. I think to some extent I was figuring things out a little bit. But the point is, I liked it. It was a good game. It was definitely repeatable. Maybe the challenge of feeling like I couldn't beat it made me want to play. I do have to play it more times with the right rules to see exactly where I feel about the game. But it's not going to be one of my most favorite deck building games, but I also don't think it's going to be one of my least favorite deck building games. I think it's going to be somewhere hovering around the middle, which again, for me, because of my enjoyment of deck building games, being ranked somewhere in the middle is actually not too bad, right? It means it has a decent chance of getting a solid spot in my top overall games of all time. So that was it. Those were the games that I played this week. I cannot complain. Really good week, especially considering the circumstances. I'm not gonna lie, I miss playing with all the friends and family that I used to play with on a regular basis. The old saying is true: you don't know what you have until it's gone, until it's missing. And I know what I had now, and I had it really, really good. I love all of you. If you're there watching my videos, people I play with, you're probably not. Probably have something better to do with your time. but I love playing with them. And I'm sure that you guys are struggling and probably affected as far as the hobby is concerned, and maybe in other ways as well. You know, you guys are my thoughts. Hopefully, you know, we're all in this together. You know, time will tell, but I think that if you just, you know, hold on tight, you know, this will eventually pass, as all things do, right? Well, thank you so much for watching us here at When Harry Met Board Games. Please don't forget to smash and crush that like button down below, and also subscribe to this channel if you're interested in some more board game relatable content. All right, well, this is Harry saying, everybody, thank you for watching and take care. Bye-bye.